Hello. Today what I'm going to do is show how to set up a simple shelter with just using 2 saplings and a tarp and some cordage. Now behind me there are all kinds of inch size, 3/4 inch saplings that are 15 feet long kind of thing. So I could cut those off and harvest them because this is not a good shelter area. What I'm looking for is a stick that is either already planted in the ground that I can bend over and stake to the ground, or something I can harvest and take to a nice shelter location and stick it in the ground, bring it over and stake it to the ground again. Now that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to want about 12 feet long and 3/4 of an inch up to, well, if it's already implanted in the ground where it's growing, I can just bend it over. So it could be up to 1.5 to 2 inches as long as it bends without breaking. So we're going to search around and see some viable options, and then we'll get to actually the build. Those ones right there, those two, are about 1.25 inches. As you can see, they go way up. Those would be perfect to harvest because this location is no good for a shelter area. But that's last resort. If you can find what you need and not cut, I'd advise that first. Now you can see this branch. I could cut this off here. It's plenty long enough, trim the couple branches I need, and this would work as well. And this here is a great option because you're only taking a limb. You're not hurting a tree. People prune limbs off trees actually to make them healthier. So you could take this without harming this tree at all, and that would give you one of your sticks that you need. Now this here is a balsam fir, and it is tall enough, but it's still not exactly what I want right now. I'm just going to show you what I'm looking for. Now this is attached to the ground, so this here is not going to harm this tree. Besides, I will have to trim some branches. But what I'm going to do is I can bring this down. I can stake this right to the ground like this. But I also want a couple other things that I'm looking for. Now I could just trim out the ones underneath. But having this like this, I can let it back up and it's not going to hurt the tree because it did not break in any way. And it will go back to original shape and still a healthy tree. I looked all over this spot to find 2 trees that were what I wanted in a decent area. Could not find that. And a lot of times you won't. You have to adapt. So I actually cut this here off of it was a branch growing out the side of a tree. So I got this that I can use for one of my poles. And then I'm going to use this as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and I'm going to stake this down like this to the ground. I'm going to trim that off up there, and then I can run my other pole. So I've got a simple stake. That was no problem to get just from a branch. Now what I want to do is I'm going to bring this down to about this high. And I've got some cordage here that I'm just going to wrap around it and tie it off. And now all I've got to do is stick in my stake and tie it off. And there we go. Now I just trim this dead piece off here, and that will be good to go. Now what I want to do is I want to drive this into the ground. That's going to hold it, so when I bend this over, it will form an arc. I can also, going to tie this right here, then I can bring that down. Must be a rock or something right there. We're going to try that, and I'll tie it right to here and then take it down to the other spot. I'm just going to hold this down and tie it off. There you go. Now all I got to do is stake this other end down. I've got the framework done. Now you can see you're totally enclosed in here. That's very good for rain and wind. Now I just cut these 4 little stakes that I can stake out these corners if I want. That will keep the wind from blowing the tarp off, and it will tighten it up as well. So I don't need to go all the way out to this grommet to make this where I need it to be. So I'm just going to put it here to this next grommet and stake it in. Just like that. Now I'm going to stake out the other side. So that's closed up pretty good right there. Now I could, if I wanted to, run a guideline on this and open this up as well. But you can see how much room you have in there. It's a lot of room. You can also, you can open this up if you like, or you could close it down as well for added shelter. But I'm just going to roll this up for right now. Like that. I'm going to show you how much room is in there. So here it is. Got a lot of room in here. Middle. I am sitting up right now, and I have all kinds of room. If you're stuck in a rainstorm, it's good to be able to sit up in a shelter. So here it is inside. All kinds of room, like I said, and got that far up above me. So I have all kinds of room in here. It's a good 8 feet long by 4 feet wide. Plenty of room. Now, of course, I would put a raised bed in here, or a brush or debris bed for sure, to get me up off this wet ground. The shelter took basically no time to put together, but finding the perfect spot, I've searched all over. You know, I searched a long time to find that perfect spot and did not find it. So I got a spot that would work, and I adapted and made the shelter. Now I could stake it out better and so on to make it tighter. That's up to you. But this gives you the general idea of how you can throw one of these together. And it gives you very good coverage. Appreciate you watching, and thanks a lot.